So for your homework this week, I want you to animate the rocket taking off and landing with squash and stretch. And that squash and stretch will basically be used to anticipate the takeoff and anticipate the landing. I have an example of what the landing could look like right here. So you see the rocket stretches out and then it squashes when it actually lands. And to give you a preview of what the curves will probably look like for that. So that's just animated on Translate Y and Scale Y. So I'm not going to walk you through it, but the curves will give you an idea of what's going on. You have the rocket is easing down into the landing, and then it stretches as it gets closer to the ground, and as it gets right about to land, it's at its most stretch. Then it squashes down and it bounces, or squashes and stretches as it lands. So to do this, you've got to do that squash and stretch control rig on the top level of the rocket. That's the same level that will have your antenna and fin attributes. So go to Windows, Node Editor. So you're going to have all this stuff when you open up the rocket. You won't have this multiply and divide. So I'll just go ahead and delete these. Come on, there we go. All right, so when you open up it, it'll look like this. You won't have this either. So all this stuff here, you can ignore this. This is the stuff that goes into your fin attribute. So you can just move this off to the side and just forget about it, right? You leave these connections going to it, otherwise it will break the antenna and the fin. Then just go ahead and go through the process of setting up the scale control that we did on the in-class exercise. So just apply that same concept, that same work to your rocket. I'm gonna go ahead and undo all that. This right here, this is just an animation curve. This is where the animation data gets saved in the Maya file. So you'll start getting those as you start animating. The other thing to be aware of is when you're animating or working in the scene and selecting stuff, by default you're going to be on the object mode. So when you click, you're just going to get the object, right? So right now I click on the rocket and I'm getting stuff deep inside the rocket. Like I get the fuselage, I get the fins, I get the boosters, get the antenna, you get the idea. So to fix that and to ensure that I'm always working on the top level of the rocket, I'm going to go over here to this right here. This is the hierarchy mode. It's right under Windows. It's this little set of connected boxes. If I select that, now choose something in the scene, it will pick the top level of the rocket, and that's what I want to be working with. And your rocket should already have the pivot point set up, so you shouldn't have to do that part. Your pivot should be set to the bottom of the rocket. If it's not, you'll want to go ahead and do that for this. So once again, 2 animations. You can edit the existing animations that you have. So you can edit the takeoff and landing. So to do that, you'll need to change the duration, right? So remember, you got the move tools, right? So I'm just going to select those keyframes. We'll pretend this is the takeoff. I'll press W, and then I can move those keyframes to give me some room to add anticipation to the beginning. And then you'll need to add some squash and stretch at the end for the landing. So those 2 things, can't wait to see how you do.